So Germany shows us how to get young people into an employment pipeline. But what about people who are already employed? How do we make sure they stay employed through the peaks and troughs of the national economy, through the highs and lows of their industry? For that, we traveled to the Netherlands, which has one of the lowest unemployment rates in Europe. What's their secret? It's something called flex security. Come with me and I'll explain.
I started as mechanic, then became tester and then troubleshooter.
Patricia van der Veen works at Royal Philips Electronics. You probably know it simply as Philips. They make everything from simple light bulbs to high-tech medical equipment. She never went to college, but Philips has trained her to do 3 different jobs. Her stint as a mechanic was on the assembly line. She was a coil tester. And now she's a troubleshooter for the MRI machines that help scan patients' bodies in hospitals around the world. Why? In the Netherlands, it's all about making sure people can stay employed in spite of any economic curveballs.
It's not about same job, the lifetime employment, but it's about keeping people employable.
Tilburg University professor Ton Wilthagen advised the European Commission to help EU countries create more and better jobs. That earned him a unique nickname.
People started to call me Mr. Flex Security. Whether this is a good name or a bad name depends, because it's still a real debate, you know.
Flex security is a fiercely debated concept that was first coined in Denmark. It combines ideas from both sides of the Atlantic. On the one hand, American-style flexibility, the ability for employers to hire and fire with relative ease. On the other, a traditional European-style security net, making sure the employee is taken care of if they are fired or laid off. But in the wake of austerity, with unemployment soaring, some argue that the Danish fairy tale lost its plot. So the Netherlands does flexibility a little differently. A centerpiece of the Dutch system is something called a mobility center, a partnership among companies that helps people find their next job instead of being let go. Frans van Houten is the CEO of Philips, one of the largest employers in the Netherlands.
We also invest in their re-employability, so that the skills that maybe Philips may no longer need, but could be very useful in other companies, will be made available.
In America, an employer facing a downturn would simply lay off employees. In the Netherlands, they are sent to the mobility center, where a great effort is made to find them work with one of the other partner companies. It helps companies share risks in bad times while still actively maintaining a trained workforce that they can tap into in good times.
Everybody needs workers because it's an aging society. So they need the support of other companies. So it's like a joint interest.
It also helps the bottom line, adds Professor Ton Wilthagen. Companies have a huge incentive to place the worker elsewhere. If they don't, they have to pay the employees unemployment benefits for up to 38 months.
By working together with other companies in the mobility center, it is something that we do not have to carry on our own, but rather it becomes a job market. And the attractiveness of a job market is that it facilitates people make demand and supply meet. And that's what we all want.
Philips CEO Frans van Houten is leading an industry that is undergoing a major revolution.
At this moment in lighting, we see a major shift from traditional lamps to LED lighting. But it has as an unintended consequence that some of the older technologies become obsolete.
As technologies evolve, oftentimes jobs become redundant too. And instead of laying off the incandescent workers, Philips might try to move them to other jobs within the company.
Yeah.
Remember Patricia, whom you met earlier, who's trained at 3 different jobs?
Yeah.
If one goes away, she has skills for another.
I think I'm in a better position in the job market now than a couple of years ago.
And if that doesn't work, there's the mobility center.
If you want to lay off somebody, it will actually cost money. And that money usually goes to the employee. In the mobility center, we invest some of the money that may have gone for compensating the layoff in actually helping the employee find another position.
It's a win-win for the company and for its employees. In some cases, companies like Philips even temporarily pay the difference in people's salaries if they have to take lower-paying jobs. It is work transition and training programs like these that have helped the Netherlands' unemployment rate drop 60% since the 1980s. But the Dutch have also taken the flexibility part of flexicurity to the next dimension. Half of the population, 77% of women and 25% of men, work part-time. So there are simply more jobs to go around. And people largely like the balance, says Professor Wilthagen.
Those people, most of them do not want a full-time job. That is part of the Dutch model.
Of course, these protections are so expensive that companies are also starting to rely more and more on temporary agency workers who enjoy most of the same rights as regular workers, but can be dismissed more easily. And that, says Wilthagen, could lead to greater inequality. But overall, he adds, there's a reason the Netherlands has one of the best trained and most productive labor forces in the world.
It's not only corporate social responsibility, but it's also self-interest. It's a small country, we want to be competitive, so let's not waste the human capital, the talent that's here. Let's try to keep it in our own region.
The key lesson America can take from Holland and Germany is that companies are given incentives to invest in their workers so that even when they do let them go, those workers retain skills and can be re-employed. Up next, should government be in the business of backing whole industries in order to create jobs?